Welcome, everybody. This is Compin, Colorado, and live. My name is Corey, and you might know me as the co-host of Straight Out of Compin, where we comp nationally with the GOAT, Jamil Damji. But we like to have a little moment for our corner of the world. Colorado is our market at Kickflip Consultants, and I like to be able to help everybody out when we address those things. I'm here with my all-time favorite, other half of my brain, Austin. How's it going today?
It's going.
I feel like this is the first time you and I are actually seeing each other today, and it has literally been madness on my side. How about yours?
Pretty much the same. I mean, we've got a lot going on today, so it's been an adventure for sure.
I noticed that last week agents were a little wildin' in regards to our outreach, where they were responding a little crazy, to be honest. But I knew that there was a lot going on. We've got graduations. It's, many people are figuring out what their summer is going to look like. And the tone has changed this week, like drastically. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
everybody's like back and ready to work and bringing addresses and quite literally has a lot going on.
Yeah, it's been definitely a different week than the last two. I have a deal in my inbox in Iliff, Colorado.
I think that's a little out there, but let's look at it.
It's definitely out there. Well, I already looked at it. There's been no flips ever to happen there. So, what's your take on that?
My question is it located to something interesting where we could kind of explore Airbnb or short-term rental? Because generally, Airbnb is not like the hottest exit strategy right now. I'm not trying to lean that direction, but when we're dealing with rural Colorado areas, and for some reason that town is not popping into my brain, my question is it in the mountains enough to be useful as a short term?
I don't think so. I mean, it's in like the top right corner. It's like you're almost no longer in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So they're like
No.
3 square blocks of a town.
Is there extreme motivation or an issue, or is it just this landed in our inbox?
Just landed in my inbox. I'm pretty sure out of the free Astro group on Facebook. Not 100%.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm always interested in like exploring it further on creative exit strategies, but as just a simple investment, if there's no flipping activity, then there's no reason for me to be of value if I can't have a client.
Okay. Yeah, I figured I already pretty much passed along the feedback, but wanted to run it by you in case that place meant something to you.
Okay. No, definitely not.
Okay.
Guys, if you're here for the first time on Comp in Colorado, I am so glad you're here. We are here to be of value to you. And that means I brought my all-time best brain when it comes to calculations, underwriting, looking at ARV, MAO, all that fun stuff. And so we want to help on your addresses. If there's anything that you want an extra set of eyes on, just drop it in the chat. We'll be here to help. In the meantime, since we don't have a lot of people needing a lot of help right now, can we look at Sandra's address? Because you and I haven't talked about it, and it's gonna like float in my brain forever.
Yeah, I already talked to Nick about it, but I can pull it back up.
Is he taking the next action?
I put him on hold for now, basically. We're waiting for pictures.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
This is the only time I have to text back a couple lenders who have been hitting me up. I'm like, ooh.
What is...
Will you share? Okay. You're on top of it. Never mind. Here we are.
Okay, so the actual square footage is 1542. And then there's a 500 square foot basement. So I have ARV on this at 475. I think if you do it right, and I didn't bump it up, is these two are the only sales over 500, and it was a while back. And this one is much, much, much larger. So this one is a good comp. It's very close to our size, but again, I mean, if you adjust for the extra 100 square feet and it being a two-story, you land right about the same. So I got a
Okay.
475. I believe this was the comp that I used. And again, you'll see why I say if you do it right, it can come up. Because, I mean, one, who leaves the outside looking like this, right?
Right.
And then two, I mean, as we can see, it's flipped, but it's not.
It's not fully updated with the bells and whistles.
Yeah, they could have done better. So
Okay.
if this is 475 and it's on Crown, we're a little bit more tucked into the neighborhood. So yeah, I put ARV at like 475. I'm waiting on pictures right now, but I think we could lock it up probably high twos, mid twos, sell low threes, high twos.
Yeah, because depending on the photos, but overall, we know just based off of age of ownership on that particular property that it's not updated. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I
um,
mean,
absolutely.
so yeah, I mean, I think it could be a decent deal if we can get it at the right price. Which it sounds like. I mean, we can pretty much. I don't want to go too in depth on the YouTubes, but
Okay. Thank you. That just like eases that I needed to know what was going on with that property, and now I can drop it. Um, and guys, we actually got that one from off market. Seller was in distress, and we are working with them before it ever hit the market. But one of the things that Privy is like essentially good at is finding on market properties that have already raised their hand and said, "Hey, I'm interested in sales. Like I want to get this thing sold," whether or not they're actually the right price or any of those kinds of things. We don't know until we actually comp it. But will you go back to the main page in Colorado and show that off a little bit? How's your internet going? Do I need to do it? It's been mean today.
no, I should be good. What was it that you wanted to see?
I want to show off Privy and like how we would find a property on market. Yes, the answer to the CEO is that mostly we go direct to agent. We're increasing that because I, as an agent, go direct to seller myself. So we're kind of changing the way that we approach, but generally, it's always great to go direct to agent and create a sphere of people that are in your industry, in your market.
Okay, you are gonna have to do it. I lied.
Yeah, cool. I can show it off. Give me 1 second, guys, to get it pulled up. Let's go.
Random, but have you used elevated title in Colorado or heard anything good or
I've
bad?
heard great things about them. Our friend Dara Sala uses them pretty often.
Okay, we may have to switch grape over there because, like I said, they want to close in like 2 days. Not all title companies are prepared for that.
I thought we were closing on like the 14th and we have to because the seller has to vacate.
Well, it's set for the 10th. I don't know. It's a conversation that needs to happen still, but ideally the buyer wants to close on Friday or Monday.
Got you. Okay. All right. Little Privy overview. And since this is a private class with the CEO, if you've got any addresses or any questions, I'm paying attention. Thanks for being here. Pretty. Sure. All right. The one thing about how quickly Jamil comps, as amazing as he is at it, I don't think he shows off as many of the cool things that like Privy has in general. So if I'm in Privy, I'm just going to hit Privy coverage to like zoom out and look at the main map. And what we're seeing here is where is Privy the most useful. If you see it in, I clicked craziness. 1 second. So where you see the MLS blue, that is where they have MLS access. And that's where you're looking at the same data that a local realtor is. And I highly suggest if you're new to utilize and go for one of those main markets. Of course, we are Colorado all day. So I want to zoom in a little bit and just see what it shows you is going on. This is up in Fort Collins and Loveland. There's still really good data up there, but there's a different MLS, and I think they're actually going to be bringing it to Privy, which is really exciting. All right. Okay. And one of the cool things in regards to coming in here is you can immediately see where has the most activity. So I'm going to click on fix and flip because most of our deals are actually going to get passed off to a fix and flipper. Those are our clients. And so we want to see where are they the most active. And that's why when we're talking about a property that's way up, I'm guessing this is where that one property is, right? Up here?
Right around there, yeah.
Yeah,
like right where your cursor is right now, actually.
There's not enough activity happening there for us to do good business. We definitely want to be in the Denver area, and you can tell that by the higher numbers. So I'm just going to zoom into one of these areas and explore. And then we're going to look for
some reason Breckenridge has been
really
requested a few times recently.
That's so interesting because so here's Breckenridge. It's one of the best places to go skiing, but they call my neck of the woods, which is just south of that, Somerville, and it's starting to expand because people can't afford Breckenridge anymore. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't want to look at Colorado Springs. And so it's just like going basically down the continental divide in terms of people's interests. So I can absolutely see investors now being interested in Breckenridge because it's been around so long. Okay, I'm going to head back to the interesting parts though. And what we're looking at right now is our buyers. Like that is the client that we're serving, and we're doing the work of going to find the distressed, motivated, difficult properties. And if it's not stressed, motivated, and difficult, then it's not really a property we want to work. So I'm all the way down in Colorado Springs. I actually would prefer Denver. Popping into Denver. And it's literally a button click that changes this, which just blows my mind. So we're looking at our buyers right now. We want to find similar active deals to those fix and flips. And now it's popping up a whole new range of different types of properties. And these are the ones that we want to be able to offer on. Let's look at this list of 69 in Washington Park, which is a pretty great area. Hi, Robert. I'm glad you're here. Okay. First and foremost, I don't want to personally be looking at anything that's on market for 0 days. If it's hit the market, maybe a retail buyer wants it, but ideally I want ugly properties that are actually motivated. So I'm going to switch that in a filter real fast. In fact, I think I can just switch it here. Sort results, days on market, opposite direction. Now, if it's been on market for over a year, I know they're out to lunch on their price. So I don't really want any of those either. I'm going to go for a sweet spot and see if we can find a deal since we're here. Why not, right? 34 days. Okay, interested. Josephine Street. We know this area well. 35 days on market, 1904, 3-bed, 2-bath. Clean on the inside. I would call this probably retail, and they're just overpriced on their listing. Oh yeah, nice shiny steel appliances. But let's jump down to comparables. While I'm over here scrolling, Austin, I can't see what's going on in the chat. I always have to jump over and back. So let me know if any good questions pop up. Okay. This is a very busy street, but a very liked street. Like people want to be in this area around Cheeseman Park. There's all sorts of things to do. And if you're actually off of Josephine Street, it's a good thing, not always a bad thing, just because of the street name. That being said, I'm a little close to 285, which is not a good thing. Oh, and pretty close to the commercial that's happening around there. So that's good to note. I'm seeing a lot of investment activity. Guys, I want to show off my favorite setting. It is all an investor only. Save. Oh, Austin's on the phone working a deal, guys. I'm here talking to Austin, but really I'm talking to myself.
My bad. I'm back.
Brian, we will look at yours here in like 2 seconds because I don't think I'll spend long here, but I wanted to show off this setting because it's my all-time favorite. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at all of the investment activity, meaning these might not be comps, but they are showing what is going through my client's brain. So 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, bought at 810, resold at 1.6, similar year. Lot size is bigger. That's going to affect it. Basement is a bit bigger. Oh gosh, the main street is so much bigger. Let's look. Oh, that looks so much. It looks so similar to what we're looking at. Give me 1 second to do some math, because 2, 3. It's interesting. I'm not sure I believe this square footage, but I'm really interested in looking at this particular comp because notice how the face is the same, but it's painted white. So whoever flipped this was already interested in that aesthetic, and you can see that they cared to keep it happening inside this home. Like, gorgeous. I got 1.6 for it in April. Let's go to the before and afters and see what did it look like when they bought it. Oh, just about as ugly as ours. And they spent $810 on it. Okay, so we've got to adjust for a pretty good amount of square footage. What would you do in this situation, Austin? Because this is a good comp, but something's a little wonky on our square footage.
How big is the square footage difference?
That's what I'm trying to understand. Or why do you say
it's wonky?
Well, because my guess is I wonder if this square footage of 2,300 is including the basement. Because that would make sense with our comp that looks similar on the outside. But it could not, and that would just change things drastically.
Well, what's the... I'm sorry, I was on the phone. I'm very confused right now.
It's all good. Let me catch you up. So I'm just trying to figure out if this might be something worth biting at, because we do know that there's a large margin of bringing one of these older homes into the modern, but keeping its Victoria-esque. We have buyers that specifically want that. And this has a similar face on the outside, but our square footage does not match. See how this is 23 and that's 1,600? But this also has a basement that's 800. And so if you add that basement to this, you get close to this square footage. And because some list agents will do that without really telling you what's going on, I'm curious if that's the case, because our build is the same, our front looks the same, but where are we stuffing these other 2 bathrooms is kind of a big part of the question. So I guess let's see if we've got a better apple.
Is this where's this at? Capitol Hill? Like Wash Park?
Yeah,
Civic Center
this is
area?
over by Cheeseman, so it's different park, but see.
Okay.
Washington Park's way more south.
Oh, yeah, it's Capitol
But you're
Hill.
close to Capitol Hill, yeah. Okay,
What
let's
was
try
the
a different setting.
What was the address to the Fillmore Street? Oh, 134.
1346 Fillmore Street. Guys, I hope this is bringing you value, just seeing the way that my brain and his brain even communicate back and forth about this stuff.
That's 3,300 square feet, so not a comp.
Okay. Let's switch up and go to all the Jamil Damji way and see what pops up. Oh, this one's active. For 26 days, not bad. This is another one at 1.1. It has an extra bathroom though. It's a little bit older. Very cute. Bought all the way in 2016, not a flip. Let's go to solds.
Were we aware the structural issues on Grape? Do you know?
No. I'm dealing with another property that has structural issues, but Grape, not so sure. 3, 2. I'm so interested in this. I want that to be a comp, but I can't make it a comp. That's so frustrating. But I do think that difference between the 1.6 and the 1.1 that we're seeing from all of these other listings is probably a big part of that. So in a lot of ways, I would circle back to this and try to figure out if it is a 1.1. Give me 1 second, guys. And then we'll actually be looking at your addresses. I got sidetracked, but I love properties. Yeah, they're probably about 60, 70K off of this. So I would offer probably about 710 and see if I could get it off my hands at 720 or 725. Because I think that's still a really reasonable flip to come in, make this thing really cute on the inside, because it's not.
For what ARV?
1.1, which is adjusted from a few things I'm seeing. But again, I almost wouldn't even offer on this because it is so nice. I want to see if maybe in the next 30 days that this gets scooped up by a family. But if it's still sitting on market by 60 days and it's not continuing to take these little drops, I think it could be a play.
Okay.
Let's help Brian out. I want to look at his address.
I'm looking at it. It's actually like right down the street from this.
Can you share your screen? It'll give me a minute.
I can try.
Let's see if your internet can handle it.
I already comped it though, so.
Well, walk us through it, bro. Of course you did. You have a tendency to.
It should be shared.
Let's go from top to bottom and what's happening in your brain when you look at an address like this.
I mean, first, pretty much the same things. I want to see how long it's been listed. Not too long. This is big because there may be restrictions on what you can do here because it's in a historic district. I don't know about this one specifically, but anything that's built like I'd say more than 100 years ago, you always want to check. But when you click through the photos, it definitely could use some work. And this whole area, basically this whole little triangle, it's kind of known for flips like this. Like this is pretty much the play over here is find a 100-year-old house and either make it super pretty or tear it down, which you can't always do, which the historical thing is a factor there. With this particular one, I think this is probably your best comp, given that it has the same proximity to 6th, and it's real recent. It's pretty old, just like this one. Lot size is similar. Bed bath is different, so I'm assuming that they finished the basement here and did that. But also, it's not super flipped, so it's not a true comp. Let me see. Give me... I don't know. Okay, so I'm really just clicking around and seeing what's over here. I wouldn't be opposed to using a comp up here, but I wouldn't jump at it either because there is a neighborhood change. And actually, I wouldn't use it at all because because this is a historical district, you kind of have to stay in the historical district for the most part, because it can matter with HOAs and regulations and that type of stuff. What's this? Too big. Frontage is different. I mean, between this one and this one, and given that this one is so much larger and sold at 1.1, I don't think we can break the $1 million mark. What's pending over here? Well,
you're a fast clicker, just like Jamil is. Like, ooh, comp over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it's just, I mean, experience. Like I do this all day, so you know what I mean. You get into a flow at some point. Yeah, I mean, everything in the millions is bigger, so that's. However, this is a very strong rental area, and it looks like the rents are. Oh, that's an outlier. See, and then this is the other thing with these historical districts is these rents. If you're trying to pull a rent rate over here, I mean, you're going to have a hell of a time because it's very, very property specific. But honestly, with this one, I would say you probably have like a 950. There's not really any hard comp for it, but based on the condition of this one and this one that sold at 9, I don't love that one, but this one particularly, I think you could bump some value if you do it right, but I just don't think you can break the $1 million mark, to be honest.
What's selling in this area at like 850? Can we look on the other side of that particular hedge and just make sure? Because my biggest concern is we're up against the 1 bathroom, so we're basically having to change that and add a 2nd bathroom, or it's going to highly affect what we're looking at. This Downing one.
There's this one, but it's on Downing, and again, not updated. So different. If you,
that's a cute little.
They think it's updated, but it's not updated. This is not flip standard by any means. I mean, it's a flip. Don't get me wrong. It's not 1900s material, but the fact that it's on Downing and not really renovated, I'd say, I mean, I'd still be probably 950, 900 around there, depending on what you do. Because we know that you can come in there and basically do that kind of a flip and get 900, which about lines up. I mean, if you add the 15, well, in this price point, actually, if you add the 15% that you got to take off for it being on Downing, puts you right back around that 900 mark in this condition on this style of a flip. So I think if you really go all out, you could probably get 950. But again, I don't think you're breaking the million. I mean, it's possible, like with this one, but again, you're a little bit larger. And how
Where
long
does that
this
land us for an offer price? Doesn't that put us pretty close to like a 470 or 480, especially since we know you've got to have some nice materials to be even getting close to the $1 million mark at the 900 mark.
Let's take a look here. I want to see how long this has been listed. Not long, actually. So the $1 million mark might not be that far of a stretch. But again, we're seeing the difference in quality in the flips.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Give me 1 second.
And he is off to work on some of our business stuff. So I'll answer this question. We have been in business for 6 months together. This is my fourth rendition of a wholesale business since I've been in the industry, and that's 5 years. And the reason I started a new one is I didn't quite vibe with a business that I had built last year and decided that I wanted to step away. And Austin came with me, thank goodness. And that whole reason was because we worked really well together and we had some theories about a wholesale business that didn't really vibe with our other team. They are amazing, they're fantastic, but that's the only reason I took and trashed my third rendition and was like, hey, let's try this fourth one. And honestly, I'm so glad I did. Austin is the other half of my brain in a lot of ways. We work really, really well together. And that's one of the reasons that we've only been in business for 6 years, or I'm sorry, I'm almost at my 6-year anniversary in business, but 6 months as kickflip consultants here in Colorado. We do utilize some follow-up CRM. We're not personally in our business using Astroblaster, though I would highly recommend it. Many of my family members in the Astro family utilize it, and I've been able to peek behind the scenes, and it's a great thing to use. So if you've got it, awesome. But mostly it's about your follow-up. And so as long as you're reaching out to agents, talking to them and making sure you're following up 1 to 2 weeks later and continuously having those conversations, whatever CRM you have is awesome. And I'm more than happy to show ours. I think we'll do a whole nother live at one point, just looking at the back end of our CRM and show you what's going on. But if you need a link to Astroblaster or to ours, which is Simple Send, just let me know, hit me up in a DM, and I'll drop you the in that will give you a little bit off on those particular softwares.
Agreed. Yeah, I'll bite at like a $950 million ARV because Clarkson is fairly long, but it depends where you're at on Clarkson. Because, for example, this particular property is in Capitol Hill, which is not a historic district, so you can do whatever you want here. Down here, I don't know, because you got bureaucracy to go through to see what you can do. But with that, I mean, this one is a decent comp. I think that this kind of shows better what I was saying of your flip quality matters. I mean, even on a deal that we're working right now, the flip quality matters. I mean, ARV on this particular deal goes anywhere from 420 all the way to 620. It 100% depends on what you come in there and do. My computer's not loading the pictures, but it's very nice inside. Not like the 900 and the 906 that we looked at. So I think it's probably about $1 million ARV. With that,
Which I think one of the things that Austin is so good at is sales to our client and to the flipper. He understands how they think, and then he kind of runs them through how they can make money on any given project, which is one of the reasons he can show off those two comps and be like, well, it depends on how much work you're actually going to do. If you're going to paint the pig, then we're way down in the 900s. In fact, probably lower if you're only painting the pig. But let's say lower luxury, high luxury, and now we're pushing more towards the $1 million mark.
Exactly. So, I mean, for an offer on this, I'd probably say, you want to be 590-ish around there. Give or take. I mean, it's kind of tough to tell exactly how much work this needs because it's a 1903 or 1906 house. So you never you can see what you can see, but once you get under the walls, it may be something completely different. So you always kind of got to be cautious there. I'd say, oh, actually, never mind. This is listed at 565. So completely disregard what I just said. You want this you don't want to push this much higher than about 505, 515, given that it's on the market. So I'd say probably about a 490. But also, this is a deal at 590, assuming everything inside is decent, and it's been sitting on the market for 23 days with a price drop to 565. So I would dig deeper. Why is it sitting on the market? Because it looks to be priced accordingly, and it's clearly not. There's something in there that people are walking through and seeing that's killing it for them. So I'd find out what that is.
Absolutely. And then maybe even make the adjustments for it, because it's interesting. When I was adjusting, I was thinking, we're going to have to do something with the electric and pipes here potentially. So I adjusted us all the way down to a purchase price of about 460, a resale of 480, 490. And that's because I know our buyers and where they're probably thinking in terms of the fact that this was already listed. And I can promise you guys, especially in Colorado, getting your stuff sold at market price, at listing price when it's already out there, just don't put yourself through the headache. It's incredibly difficult. We have to add value in this market, which means it's our job to go do the negotiation down to the right numbers. And that's where we're adding value and why we get paid our fee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, man, okay. Kind of excited about that one. The CEO, you need to go, or wait, it wasn't the CEO. Brian, this is your address. Go lock it up. Talk to the agent. See what's going on the inside. See if you can negotiate down. Let them know their price is a little high for you. Have those conversations and let us know how it goes. And if you need help selling it when you get it to that right price, all you got to do is drop it to deals that close with Kickflip, and Austin will guide you along the way to all of our awesome buyers who are very hungry. I do want to touch on this because I'm kind of I started off as a solopreneur, and then I feel like I talked to a ton of different people. I worked with a bunch of different people, and it really is exactly as Renee dropped in the chat. You've got to find your people, and you've got to start to recognize, what do you enjoy doing in the business? What are you good at? And then find the person on the other end who does the exact opposite, which is where I and Austin are found that we're awesome business partners. Because I like to be on the phone. I like to be talking to people.
I mean, there's a caveat to it though, because if you are, how can I word this? If you don't want to build a company and you just want a business that pays you, I think being a solopreneur is the most profitable way to do that. Mostly because you don't have to do the whole business. You can do only acquisitions or only dispositions and run it that way. But if you want to build any kind of a company, I think that's very, very hard to do by yourself. Mostly because then it's on you to figure everything out. If something's not working, you got to figure out why, figure out how to fix it. If, there's a lot that having a team does that you just can't really get being by yourself. But also, if your goal isn't a 9-figure wholesale business, being a solopreneur may work. You don't necessarily need a team to do the business. I mean, I know people that run easy 6-figure businesses by themselves, but there's a cap on that. There's a cap to what you can do by yourself.
heck, a lot of people use us so that they don't have to worry about that dispo side of things. We handle that. We do the buyer's side. We communicate back to you so you can communicate to your agent. But that allows them to continue in the act, which, if you are only doing one thing, I highly suggest you pick a market. Step one, pick a side, act or dispositions, and get really good at that and bring value to the other players who are on the other side. You don't even need a established business partner like Austin and I are. In
Yeah.
fact, I highly
And
suggest you don't do something like that to start. Like Austin and I basically dated for a whole year in another company before we realized that we aligned on what we wanted a business to be in the future.
yeah, and I mean honestly, and that goes back to what I was saying versus like company versus just business that pays you is being a solopreneur, you inherently make more. For example, all of our JV partners that use us as dispo and etc., our companies make the same amount of money, but we don't, because me and Corianne have overhead and we a team and we have to disperse properly and et cetera, which works for us because we want to scale. We're not worried about making the X amount of dollars on every single deal. Whereas what this person just made 10 grand on a deal may take me or Corianne 2 deals to net each 10 grand versus the company and company. There's a lot of pieces to it, but I mean, that's really what it boils down to is, do you want a company or do you just want a high paying like job essentially?
Yeah. Speaking of having people in your community that are the other half of your brain, my all-time favorite girl is in the house backstage. Let's bring up Renee. Because our whole goal here, guys, is to create a chain of helping you out in the comping world. And we start with Straight Outta Compin with the GOAT, Jamil Damji. And then Compin Colorado is next. And guys, in the next 10 minutes, we've got Compin California coming up. Hey, Renee, how's it going?
I'm feeling a little rock and roll. If you know, you know.
Woo!
If you don't know, then you don't
it.
know. So I'm bringing my old rock and roll self. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Renee, otherwise known as your SoCal gal, Renee in LA. And so I am a real estate agent first and foremost. So I'm not necessarily a wholesaler. I bring a little bit of twist on this. I've been a real estate agent for 19 years, it'll be 19 years in July. And so I bring a different perspective, but I also primarily have been working with investors for that amount of time. So I got you on both sides of the aisle. And I also used to own a record store when I was in my 20s, which was only so many years ago. I'm feeling it. I don't know why. I'm just feeling it today. Anyways, love you guys. I love what Austin just said. You go further together, right? You go further faster together. And I'm in the process of actually looking for my people too. So anybody out there is looking for an internship at the moment, I've got some kind of what would be considered low level, but as equally as important. Everybody starts in the mailroom. That's what they used to say at Creative Artist Agency. Everybody starts in the mailroom. You got to know how to do the in the trenches work before you can work your way up. And then you find your people along the way. So 19 years later, I'm still looking for my people. Come find me on Straight Out of, or not Straight Out, I should say Comping, California. Sorry. So Comping, California. Next after this show, and come hang with another astro flipping student who is going to give his rendition of how he comps here in SoCal.
Ooh, I'm so excited for that. I will definitely be over there to say hi. I just want to note on that, because what you're bringing to the table is actually a huge resource that 5 years ago when I was starting, I wish I had. And in fact, I paid people in hopes of having that and never even got that kind of coaching, where what you're offering is, come look behind the curtain of how I run my business. I will show it to you so that you get the help as well. So guys, if you're super new, I highly suggest you take up an opportunity with somebody who's in the business, who knows what they're doing. So it's like a fast track. It's like standing on one of those sidewalks that moves at an airport, honestly.
That's true. And Austin, you were right. Like, I think sometimes, listen, I've been a solopreneur a lot in my real estate acumen, and it's yes, did I make more money? I did. And I also worked a lot harder. So I think, it's kind of like, is it time or money? Like, what is the trade-off? And you just have to have a come to Jesus with yourself. And you will have that conversation with yourself, or life will have that conversation for you. Because I worked so hard, and I mean hard, that I didn't it was unhealthy. I didn't take a lot of breaks, and I almost had a nervous breakdown when I was 27 years old because all I ever did was just about work every day in my 20s. You can kind of get away with it then. When I say nervous breakdown, it's because I had so many things going on at once. I don't know if that's technically what it was, but I was so exhausted I couldn't get off the couch and the bed for about a week. And I had a roommate at the time, and my roommate was like, "Are you okay?" I mean, that's what it'll do to you. So it's kind of funny in retrospect, but not so funny. So don't think it won't happen to you. And having help and spreading the wealth and being able to go further faster with people is something that you should keep in the back of your mind while you're building, because it's a real thing, guys. And it's only getting a little bit harder out here in the real estate world. There's more access to information. You know, there's a lot of things that people are looking at. They're expecting service. You just cannot be everything to everybody. So please, if there's one thing I could pass on, consider, you know, partnership if it's the right thing for you. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Renee. Will you make sure and drop the link in our chat here?
I
And then
will.
I'll see you on the other side. And I'll talk to my friends for a second. Just
Yay.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Hey, everybody. To anybody that showed up today, was active in the chat, gave me some of your time back, I hope I brought you value. Thank you for being here. It honestly is an honor that you take some of your time to be here. And I just want to let you guys know that my goal is this becomes what you need. So if that's bringing addresses, if that's asking questions about how we set up our business or how we approach agents, those kinds of things are welcome here. And last but not least, if you're not a part of our Astro family, I'm not kidding when I tell you that I spent a lot of money and talked to a lot of people in all different areas before I found astro flipping. And I wish it was the first thing I found when I got into investing, and it wasn't. But I will give you everything I paid for in regards to that and let you know that a lot of those things out there are complete trash. But one of the things that isn't is astro flipping, because what it's doing is it's giving you a lifelong community. They're not going to kick you out at 2 months. They're not going to kick you out at 6 months. You're here for life, and you really do find your family members. Renee is one of them for me. I love her like a sister from another mister, and I would have never met her if I didn't invest in myself and invest in my business for the third time, by the way, to get into astro flipping. And that was the moment for me that everything shifted, that every dial changed, because I was taught how to do this in an ethically kind, thoughtful manner. And that was so important for everything kind of dialing in from this very artistic, artsy brain, understanding real estate. So I welcome you into that family. I would love to have you guys there, and I'd love to be the big sister you need to hold your hand. So if you're interested in making that investment into the Astro family, all you got to do is DM me on IG. It's at Corianne Wright, and I will literally hook you up with the right people. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you have any connection to California or any friends in California that need help, go ahead and jump over and say hi to Renee. Honestly, they're going to be so much fun, and she brings in some of the best guests. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. Party hardy. Keep doing the work. Pick yourself up anytime you fall, which happens a lot in this business. Pick yourself back up and keep going. Thanks, y'all. And I can't wait to see you soon.